Hey guys, what's up? It's the Annotator. Today I'm going to tell you why I think that Captain Marvel is not very good. It's the first female-led MCU film. It's an event movie that was sold to us as a yarn about identity, girl power, and courage. I think it's a movie everyone was rooting for, just as we rooted for and were rewarded by Wonder Woman. But like I said, it's kind of a disaster, and I'm going to talk through why. Now, the story is about a former U.S. Air Force pilot who crashes during a presumed military experiment. She suffers memory loss and is rescued by an alien race that develops her into a weapon for their benefit in a war against an opposing alien race. Not too bad right there. I'm pretty interested. They hire Brie Larson, a tremendous actor, to play Carol, who becomes the title character, and they tab Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden to direct. Now, Fleck and Boden, a producing-directing duo, made Half Nelson, Sugar, and Mississippi Grind, three excellent character-driven films. All of their films have been about characters whom lay poets would consider quote-unquote lost souls, but it's evident right away that Captain Marvel isn't going to be the introspective discovery story I personally had hoped it would be. A film's first image is a pretty big deal. It should establish the visual grammar of the movie and symbolize the primary focus. Half Nelson is about a grade school teacher lost in loneliness and drug addiction, and it opens on an angled close-up of Ryan Gosling, who plays the lead. He's silent by himself, staring into nothing. It's a handheld shot, the shakiness relaying Gosling's instability and proximity to self-danger, and it isolates him as someone who's unhappy or in need. Captain Marvel, by contrast, about a character with the same macro goal to find her purpose, starts on an extreme slow-mo shot of Carol falling into sand from an explosion. It's incredibly dumb, like something you'd expect from the Fast and Furious franchise, which, by the way, openly mocks blockbuster movie culture with a wink to the camera. Captain Marvel neglects earnestly growing Carol as a complex protagonist in favor of trying to cram other far less important shit in. It builds a foundation around Carol, but the foundation's weak because it piles on heaps of stuff without establishing why we should care about a protagonist. It behaves like a sequel that skipped its predecessor, but if that sequel had a 20-minute prologue of backstory read to you by supporting characters. And because proper room isn't afforded to Carol for natural growth, the moments that should be celebrated as keystones in her journey suffer. They're rushed and lifeless. Carol's awakening, for example, the moment she realizes her assigned place in society is a facade and she's been manipulated into serving a soldier role, also the moment you could say she's finally Captain Marvel, culminates with her saying the dumb line from the trailer about how she's not going to fight your war, she's going to end it, then growling, "My name is Carol," which actually made me choke on my own spit, then reaching behind her head to tear off a literal microchip inhibitor that's the most painfully obvious visual metaphor for her oppression any high schooler could have imagined. The key to unlocking her full power we're supposed to accept is her remembering how she got it. Not overcoming a character flaw such as her naivete or arrogance or recklessness, just remembering something she'd forgotten or was stolen from her, yada yada, it doesn't matter. That's not character development, that's a character circumstance. Nick Fury and Ben Mendelsohn's Talos are fleshed out in memorable, meaningful ways. They have discernible arcs, clear personalities and ethics, and we learn about them by their actions as much as by their words, even if their words are silly because the script is so good. Carol, the only character in the film that really, really matters, is like a mystery box that never opens but whose contents are described in monologue or flashback or anything that's not visual storytelling, which is the definition of, cinema. It's just really bad. Here's a scene-by-scene recap of the first 20 minutes of a movie about a person who becomes the name of the movie. Scene 1. Flashback and slow-mo. Dumb, no character traits revealed. Scene 2. Carol sitting in her barracks as the sun rises. No character traits revealed. Scene 3. Mentor-pupil training scene between Carol and Jude Law's character. Carol speaks with some bite, but again, we learn nothing about her traits as an individual. Scene 4. Exposition between Carol and Law, completely unrelated to Carol, followed by Law telling her, in succession, verbatim, "Control your impulses. Use your head. I want you to be the best version of yourself." Oh my God. Scene 5. Carol visits an AI called the Supreme Intelligence, who tells Carol that Carol struggles with Carol's past. because Carol couldn't possibly know this about herself, and the Supreme Intelligence tells Carol and us that the Skrulls are bad. Carol actually motherfucking says, in quotes, "You're supposed to take the form of the person I most admire, but I don't even remember." Scene 6. Carol and Law and their little Special Forces team plan a tactical rescue mission they're about to embark on, aka they tell us what they're gonna do. Scene 7. Action scene, rescue mission. Carol volunteers herself for a dangerous task that has to be done. What do we learn here? That she's courageous and her courage is a bit brash. That's a character trait. This is the first information we learn about Carol that's unique to her, even though it's the most recycled superhero trait, and that's shown to us in real time instead of told to us. We're 11 minutes in, and she's been in every scene up until now. She gets captured by Talos, who views her memories like they're a vine thread. It's incredibly moronic. Talos says, "Who is this person?" as if we don't fucking get it already. The editing is abominable, and I don't know why I'm still going on about it. A good character film shows us a character overcoming a personal obstacle to achieve their desire. A good action film shows us story and character through character behaviors, action, set pieces, fight choreography, whatever. A film that's wholly dependent on tropes, exposition, and circumstance to tell a story is a really bad film. I'm rating the story and plot a double minus. Nothing remotely unique or engrossing about it, and much of it is either really, really stupid or doesn't make any sense. Structure and pace is also a double minus. This is tricky because obviously restructuring the film would require considerable plot edits, but I mean, that's how movies work. And hard to imagine plot edits making this movie any worse anyway. Character development, a minus, right between a minus and a double minus. Fury and Talos being the only two positives in this entire movie, in my opinion, and the only reason this isn't a double minus. Dialogue, obviously a double minus. Cinematography, minus, and this is a true crime of wasted opportunity. Cinematographer Ben Davis isn't a legend by any means, but he's done a lot of interesting work in his career, such as Layer Cake, Stardust, Tamara Drew, Doctor Strange, 3 Billboards, and Guardians of the Galaxy, which is one of the MCU's most visually exciting films, despite its many flaws. Directing, editing, double minus, visual effects, neutral. It's okay for the most part, really bad in some scenes and decent in some others, doesn't matter. Score, minus, just really not interesting or compelling, doesn't really add any emotional stakes to the story, which doesn't really have any emotional stakes to begin with. Final thoughts here. Fleck and Bowden have a gentle voice for characters in search of self and salvation. They've proven that with their filmography, but this movie neglects that voice in favor of dull action and ham-fisted explanation. I'm rating Captain Marvel a 3 out of 10. Tell me what you think of this movie. As an MCU diehard myself, I'd love to get a conversation started here, and if you disagree with me, or if there were things that spoke to you about this movie that I didn't touch on and you think made the movie a lot better for you, let me know. I'm very curious about that. And like and subscribe if you haven't already. Here are 2 previous videos you probably won't click on.